Well, we face over a longer time frame a change from what I call the hydrocarbon age to other forms of energy. My main business has been oil and gas. I'm an absolute believer that the ingenuity of man and the productivity of man is going to carry us a lot further down the road and we're seeing good evidence of it now in the oil and gas business, where we're seeing getting natural gas out of shales, getting oil and natural gas out of tight formations that 5 years ago wouldn't have been commercial and now appear to be highly commercial. We don't know the whole story yet, but we know enough of it to know it's very, very meaningful. So I think it's very important that this province, for example, maintain an environment that I consider attractive for what I call risk-taking entrepreneurial people, because I think that the result of that is going to be to find a lot more oil and gas in areas and in formations that you wouldn't have thought about finding them. And the beneficiaries are sure those people, but the big beneficiaries is our province, because it owns most of the mineral rights and it'll collect the royalties and so on. But looking on maybe longer term, I think there's a real challenge to find other sources of energy, because oil and gas are depleting assets. And we tend to, most difficult thing for people to grasp is the concept of time. I think as a geologist, maybe I have a background that lets me do that a little different, because that's how we study. We talk about don't talk about tens of years, we talk about millions of years, and that's just part of what how we think. But we just day to day, we don't do that. We think in terms of our time frame. Well, my time frame and even the history of man is a blink of an eye, but I think we're this hydrocarbon age. You realize it only started maybe. Well, it probably reached full swing around 1950, 1960, and really only started in the late 1800s and never reached. You know what I'm talking about. Look at us now with airplanes and planes and ships and so on. Well, it's clear that longer term that's got to change. We've got to develop some other sources of energy, and I think we better realize that, and we better intelligently focus on that, and realize we're going to have to go down there. And we are. I mean, there's solar and wind, and I don't know, this scares people, but I think we're going to have to do more in nuclear than we do. I realize the risks and the waste and all of those things, but from just a standpoint of available energy and energy efficiency, I can't see any other alternative. So we're going to have to be aware of that and be intelligently working toward that. I'm a small business. I've been small business all my life. I'm used to taking risks, and I think it's really important that we keep an environment here, again, where people who are willing to use their time and energy and their money to take risks. The environment, we should maintain a reasonably attractive environment. That's got to be balanced. In our case, Alberta owns most of the mineral resources, and you hear this business about fair share, and I understand that. But there's just a bigger responsibility in the government to get to the people of Alberta in getting their fair share. There's an equally important responsibility to create an environment where that can happen, where people can take risks, and some of them will take risks and get highly successful and have big cars and all that stuff, but the majority of them are not that way. Majority of them will go on and create jobs and share and do things in our communities that make us all better.